Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Garage. I'd like to start off by saying howdy to the brand new subscribers. Make sure you share and tell your friends about it. Leave me a comment and all those good things. Well, it's a brand new day. I got yesterday. I did a bunch of work on the 396. Got the carburetor on. Got the fuel line and transmission line, and I'm working out the brackets and whatnot. The guy I bought the car from, he did a really good job of sorting out and bag and tagging parts as he pulled them apart. And I got this car, a lot of this was in boxes, but he did a really good job of sorting things out. A lot of it was labeled, but it's still his brain that pulled it apart and not mine, so I have no memory of how things went together. So it's like putting a little bit of a puzzle back together. You know, one of the things that stumped me yesterday was I just couldn't get this bracket to line up properly. And I looked through bags, I couldn't find any spacers or anything like that. So this is the one that didn't make it, but I took a piece of stock, round stock, and put it on the lathe, and I turned it down and I made a couple of spacers, a couple half-inch spacers that go behind this bracket here. Now everything lines up perfectly. So somewhere there's got to be, anyways, it doesn't matter, it's fixed now. But that kind of stuff takes time, you know, and when you're putting together a project like this, you gotta account for that. You know, you gotta realize that it's gonna take time to do some of the things that you think is just bolted on and move on, and you can't rush that stuff. It'll bite you in the butt in the long run. I learned that the hard way quite a few times. So being able to slow down is a virtue. Really, it really is. So then, you know, I find the lines and I go ahead and I clean them up, and then I run steel wool down them and kind of clean them up really good and make everything look nice. And it should be a pretty sweet ride when it's all done, you know. I got all the brake booster hooked up. I got the windshield wiper motor back on. Some of the air conditioning stuff here. You know, the wiring will tell you where it wants to go, because wire has a memory. Once it's been set in there for a while, it'll always want to go that way. So if you just kind of take your time and lay it out, it all falls into place eventually. So what I had to do, because we're in the middle of this COVID-19 stuff going on right now, and as much as I'd love to run down to the parts store, you know, I have my mother lives next door. I have a wife and kids, and the last thing I want to do is get anybody that I love sick because I needed to run down and get parts. So, you know, this is serious stuff. People are dying, and we got to be careful. However, Bob the UPS guy, he'll still come and see me, so we keep a distance from one another. So, but he'll show up and bring my dog cookies, so we're good there. Attaboy Bob, man. I gotta hand it to people like you that are gonna work your way right through this. You know, you are truly the salt of the earth. Now, I made an order from Summit Racing last night that's gonna get me my spark plug wires, which I didn't have, and a few other little doodads and stuff. Like I said, I'm not gonna run down to the parts store right now. I'll save that for when all this is over, hopefully soon. But yeah, so today's project, or today's plan is I'm going to clean up. I got tools kind of laying all over the place. I'm going to get it clean up. I'm going to regroup. I'm going to get the drive shaft, rebuild it. I'm going to put the new U-joints in. It has the plastic retainers in it that come original on these. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll take some video of removing those and putting new U-joints in there. And I even got a little story to go along with it, like I do with most stuff. So anyways, hang out. I'm glad you're here. And again, thanks for the new subscribers. Tell your friends. Let's get started. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pop the U-joint out here. This has got the plastic injected that retains the U-joint in here. These are original. And it's funny because these don't even have any grease fittings on them. And this is going to be 1968, 50 some odd years old with no grease fittings. And they're still actually pretty tight. I could rerun this, but the front one needed to be replaced, so I'm going to replace this one here too. You know, might as well. I got it out, but so what we're going to do, I'm going to put the old fire wrench on it, And you can see there's a couple of little tabs right here where you can see where the plastic is injected. And what I'll do is I'll heat this up, and then you'll see the plastic start to come out of there. When the plastic starts to come out, it's done, ready to go. There we go, that one's ready to go. See the plastic working its way out. Do the same over here. And the plastic out of that side. I can't quite see it, but I'm assuming I'm there. All right, now you can see right on that line right there, that's where the plastic is in there. So it goes through those holes right in there, and that plastic holds it together. Pretty amazing. Been holding it there for 50 some odd years. And pretty cool. Now when we replace it, it'll be a clip on the inside, because obviously I can't inject it with plastic, so there'll be a clip on the inside. So anyways, I'm gonna get the rest of those out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get I already got one part of the U-joint in on the yoke, and then I'm gonna put the U-joint in on here. Promised a quick story, so here we go. These things, when they go in, the cups, when they go in, let's see, when they go in, there's already one in there, there's these little retaining clips that go in there. You gotta make sure they are in there and they are in there good. Because I had a little S10, or I still have it, my S10 that I built, that I drag raced. And I built the whole thing, you know, everything I did myself. I built the, you know, I call them Scott tracks, but I made a version of Cal tracks that seemed to work pretty good on it, and motor mounts and exhaust. I mean, I did all the stuff. But I had to have the drive shaft done. So I sent it out to have the drive shaft, a new drive shaft made. It had these plastic injected things in there. So they made me a new drive shaft, got it back, put it in the truck. My very first pass with that new motor, new rear end in it, all the stuff I did at 100 miles an hour at the top end of the track, my drive shaft came flying out. And it bounced around underneath there. It broke the bell housing off of my transmission. It went right through the drive shaft, went through the fuel tank. It went through the floor of the bed. It went through the floor of the cab. I mean, not huge amounts, but it went through all of that. Lesson learned, one, I didn't have a drive shaft safety loop on. If you ever are gonna go drag racing, put a drive shaft safety loop on. I was lucky that I didn't lose a leg, get killed, wreck, any of those things. I'm very lucky that nothing happened of that matter. I got out of it really in pretty good shape. Broke my transmission into two pieces, and I bent the pinion gear in the rear end when I did that. Those were the two major things that had to get redone. I didn't know I bent the pinion gear. It took me a while to figure out where that vibration was coming from once I put it back together. But it sucked because I had spent everything I could putting that truck together over the winter, got it ready, and that happened. I managed to get it back together because drag racers, like any other racers, man, it's like a family. And guys came to help me. You know, I had one guy, he helped me build a new transmission. He gave me a fuel cell to put in the back, and you know, a lot of encouragement from a lot of people. So, you know, community is so important. But anyways, that's the end of that story. Moral of the story, put these things in, double, triple check everything as always. And if you drag race, put in a safety loop. If you don't drag race, put in a safety loop. If you're gonna go out there and get nuts and pop your clutch and get on it and do all that stuff, put in a safety loop. It could save your life or, you know, whatever. Anyways, enough of that. So we're gonna get to this. So what we're gonna do is get the caps off. We'll put one in without the caps so you can get it in there. Put a cap on one end. A little bit of a tap in to get it started. Where were those clips? Right there. Get that guy in there. Turn him over. Get another one in over here. And I'm gonna align it a little bit on the. Oh, that's not gonna do it. All right, that'll work right there. Just like that. I have a little press over here. I'm gonna put it on there and I'll get them pressed in. And then I'll put the clips in. So let me go press that in real quick. All right, so I got quite a bit accomplished today. I got the, well, I don't know if you can see or not. I got the core support back on, right there. It's on loose. I still got to get the fenders on there and the fender wells. I got, move this down just a hair. I got, let's see, I got all the wiring straightened out. That's all done. I got the hoses on. I'm waiting on the vacuum line. I had to order the vacuum line for it. I got the exhaust all up in the car and bolted in. The drive shaft that we did earlier is now in the car. I didn't paint it because I don't really have enough paint to paint it, and it's raining outside and whatever. It's just a drive shaft. So I stuck it in there. It was clean anyways. So that's in there. Like I said, exhaust is bolted up. Shifter linkage. I mean, it's there. It's pretty much there. Just got to wait for those couple of more parts to come in, and I could finish this up and get it started. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. It just kind of sucks because I find things that I'm missing. You know, like I got the PCV valve, but I really want one. It's a straight one, and I really want a 90. So that way that it stays down nice and low to the engine. So little things like that, you know, I'm gonna have to change them as, you know, later on down the road when I'm able to comfortably go to the store again. But anyways, it's coming right along. I'm real happy with where I'm at right now, making a lot of progress right now. So anyways, thanks for hanging out with me and watching me fumble around. You know, today was a whole lot of underneath the car, so that doesn't make for a very good video. So, but anyways, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, and make sure you subscribe and like and share and give me a comment and whatever you feel like doing. Thanks. Stay safe.